The sky is darkening right now. Yet another thunderstorm is approaching this Sunday morning. So I'm going to do a little more storytelling. August 17th, 2006. What used to be. On the internet board where I write, I posted my comments about the area we've come to call the Fertile Crescent. I thought to myself, it was around the same time frame, about 9,000 to 10,000 years ago, that the 1,000-foot glacier which covered where I now live began to melt more rapidly. The waters which formed and which eventually broke through the barrier of the Appalachian chain at the Water Gap created the Delaware River, and the silt which went with it created most of what is now the state of New Jersey, also known as the Garden State. Since that time, the climate has continued its change. The gardens of Babylon are now a desert, and that which was in the frozen grip of ice is now a verdant forest, a sylvan setting, south of which is a fertile garden state. The crescent of fertility shifts. August 18th. Shifting sands. The Sphinx in the Valley of the Kings shows signs of erosion, horizontal scoring as a result of thousands of years of wind and sandblasting, but also vertical scoring, the kind that we see on structures and rock which have been exposed to constant precipitation. But rain erosion in a desert, one wonders. Also, some of the horizontal erosion, particularly around the base, shows signs of having been underwater for a period of time. Sediments in the rock seem to indicate it. And so science, once predominantly Eurocentric, but now increasingly more global in perspective, begins to consider that perhaps the Sphinx is considerably older than previously believed. Perhaps built in a time when we thought humans were still in caves, a time when Egypt wasn't a desert at all, but rather a fertile, expansive savanna. Previous dating of the Sphinx has come from less than accurate interpretation of hieroglyphics, which are now being understood in a more holistic light. Also, some of the dating of its creation is based on carbon testing, which involves carbon dating organic materials found in the sand around the structure. The materials found, which are the earliest, are those which are considered to be representative of the time of the Sphinx's creation. However, they could just as easily be the remnants of a millennia's later picnic lunch. The stone itself is, of course, incredibly ancient, but science is beginning to consider that perhaps the time frame is not as once believed. The mystery of the Sphinx may not be something hidden under it or in it, but rather in the realization of its true antiquity, and what that represents as far as human history and civilization goes. Science has been at a loss to explain how a tribe which essentially lived in a desert and at best was able to farm along the banks of the Nile suddenly developed into a technologically advanced civilization capable of constructing pyramids of such mathematical and technical precision that to this day we are unable to reproduce them. It is being considered, and evidence seems to support it, that the Sphinx originally had a cat's head, and the later pharaoh bent on immortalizing himself had the head recarved in his own image and likeness. Science, philosophy, and human awareness seem to be converging, and soon the cat will be out of the bag.